For this week's mini project, I decided to study the mindful integration of interdisciplinary writing in today's classroom. I found through my research that while most educators agree that interdisciplinary writing is good for academic development of their students, we must be cognizant that content area and ELA standards are integrated with a balanced approach. To this discussion, I decided to study a couple of different areas. I just studied the positive outcomes of interdisciplinary writing, the challenges that are faced in implementing interdisciplinary studies. I decided to look at my own teaching and just determine what I'm doing in my classroom. I decided to determine specific projects and assessment tools that I will use moving forward in my classroom. And then I just have an area of final thoughts and questions about the importance of the implementation of interdisciplinary studies in our schools. So the positive impacts of interdisciplinary writing, according to Hind, quoted in Hefner, it is in the best interest of our students that teachers truly integrate the curriculum so that students become integrated thinkers and do not think of social studies as an add-on to reading lessons. Truly integrating the curriculum will result in students who are able to access disciplinary knowledge and modes of thinking so that they can effectively participate in democratic society. We want students who are well-rounded individuals when they come out of our school, who are prepared not just in knowing the historical facts, but understanding how their place in society is part of those historical facts and the historical future. We found that interdisciplinary studies help students to be actively engaged in the curriculum, have positive attitudes towards subject matter of study, and to integrate ideas across content and subject areas. We've also found that it teaches students how to work collaboratively with their peers, negotiate with one another, and to really advocate for their own ideas within a project and a group situation. Some of the challenges in implementing interdisciplinary writing are that there's not enough teacher training, that there's insufficient resources for the content areas, and that the focus is still on state-tested subject area. Hefner asserts that the emphasis on integration places the fate of social studies in the hands of educators who researchers hope subvert the testing and time constraints to teach higher order discipline-specific thinking. In Hefner's study, she looked at 10 teachers in southeastern United States who were asked to teach integrated social studies and ELA lessons. She found that while the teachers had the best hearts and really intended on truly integrating the subjects, that at the end of the year, they were really teaching ELA and ELA skills by reading about social studies, and that this was really doing a disservice to the content area of social studies. Their principals had bought them globes and relief maps and stuck them in their classroom and had highlighted stories from the text they were using and said, these are social studies, so you can teach ELA ideas while teaching this social studies content. But the teachers didn't have the training and the teachers didn't have the experience, and they were truly relying on their ELA backgrounds in order to integrate the social studies. The fifth grade teacher who did integrate the social studies said that she really felt that her kids came to her with a lack of knowledge, and so they were behind the eight ball. A big reason for this is that there are state tests, K to 4, and those tend to focus on ELA, so teachers still feel the pressure of meeting that. So that tends to be where they have their focus and their balance. So the Common Core State Standards state that the skills and knowledge captured in ELA literacy standards are designed to prepare students for life outside the classroom. They include critical thinking skills and the ability to closely and attentively read text in a way that will help them understand and enjoy complex words of literature. Students will learn to use cogent reasoning and evidence collection skills that are essential for success in college, career, and life. The standards want us to create students and learners and adults who are not just ready for college, but they're ready for career and they're ready for the life ahead of them. So I reflected on my own teaching to determine how I'm providing this for my students. I currently use STEM projects at least 4 times a year, usually before vacations, to kind of keep my kids stimulated and interested in the project at hand and the curriculum at hand. I use differentiated reading assignments from News ELA and ReadWorks in the content-specific areas, so the children have choice in what they're learning about photosynthesis or in what they're learning about social studies, while still learning about our main content. I also include weekly writing prompts in science and one project-based learning activity at the end of the year, which was running and building a taco truck. In the future, I've really realized that project-based learning and interdisciplinary writing need to be part of my everyday classroom situation. So, as far as project-based learning, I want to add a science and math project-based learning activity in each of my math and science units. I also want there to be more student choice in the areas of interest study in our content areas, and I want a continuous integration of STEM projects used for teaching and assessing students for multiple disciplines, not just putting it in for interest, but also putting it in for assessment purposes. Um, I also am really going to make sure that we do some writing that is no pressure writing, that would be, science journal writing or writing about something they learned about science on the news or a question that they had, just so that we're integrating that more with our content area studies. To this end, the two projects that I'm going to do next, one of them involves building a biome in a bottle. In this way, students are going to be able to study the food chain and food web. So I'm planning on assessing them on anecdotal evidence, as well as uh, their science journals and their records, and really using the lab process to help them determine how this project can also be a scientific lab for them with variations and variables. In math, we're going to be studying volume and area and surface area. So I'm going to have them create tiny houses to help them learn about those areas of discussion. But I'm also going to have them read about how architects and construction workers and builders use those three different dimensions in their work every day so that they can see the real life connection. Significant learning takes place when meaningful and lasting classroom experiences occur. So we can't just live in a bubble. We can't just teach language arts it by itself. Life is interdisciplinary. So we need to make sure that the projects that we're doing in school and the writing we're doing in school is interdisciplinary, is important to our students, and keeps them engaged and active in order for the learning to truly be significant. So, in conclusion, it is our responsibility as educators to prepare our students for the future. Interdisciplinary project-based teaching allows our students the best opportunity to be well-rounded, self-directed, and collaborative learners. We must help our districts to create true interdisciplinary units of study that value each subject matter equally. Hind states that it is the best interest of our students that teachers truly integrate the curriculum so students become integrated thinkers. We need to show them that just as our world is an integrated place, their classroom is an integrated place. And we need to help the teachers who feel uncomfortable with this model to truly see how they can see the balance and the value of teaching science and social studies and technology and math all together and really giving those equal balance and priority within our classrooms.